Hello my loves, for today's crochet tutorial I will be showing you how to make the Flora bag and how to attach the flowers and beads to your bag. You will need 100 grams of chunky wool for the bag body. I used Rico Essentials Mega Wool in chunky in the cream colour, 75 grams of DK yarn for the handle, 75 grams of yarn for your flower centers and 75 grams for your flower petals, a 5.5mm hook for the bag body and a 4mm hook for the handle, a pair of scissors and an optional darning needle to help weave in your ends. And you will need to know how to slip stitch, single crochet, double crochet and fasten off to complete this project. For this project, I'm going to use both of my yarns together, double-stranded, just for a bit of variation in colour and so that it keeps it a little bit thicker. But you can also just use the thicker yarn here or use any thick yarn that you have. So to begin this tutorial, start by making a slip knot. Chain 3 equivalent of 1 double crochet plus a foundation chain, and place 7 more double crochets into that first chain of your chain 3. And here you should have 8 double crochets in total, including that chain 3 that started off the row. And for round 2, chain 2 equivalent of 1 double crochet to start the row, and place another double crochet into the base of that chain 2 as a slight increase, and place 2 double crochets into every stitch along your row so that you end up with 16 double crochets. And place 2 double crochets into the top of that chain 2 from our previous row. And finishing row 2, you should have 16 double crochets in your piece right now. For row 3, chain 2 and turn your work, equivalent of 1 double crochet. Place 1 more double crochet into the base of that chain. And from here, we're going to create the pattern that we'll use for the rest of the bag. So into the next stitch, place 1 double crochet, and into the next stitch, place 2 double crochets. Into the next stitch, place 1 double crochet, and into the next stitch, place 2 double crochets. And continue this along the rest of your bag, placing 1 double crochet and then 2 double crochets until you reach the end of your row. To your last stitch, place 1 double crochet. And that is row 3. For row 4, chain 2 and turn your work, equivalent of 1 double crochet. Place 1 double crochet into the stitch where that chain 2 is coming out of, and this time we're going to place 1 double crochet into the next stitch, 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and 2 double crochets into the next stitch. For the first row, we did all double crochets. For the second row, we did 2 double crochets into each double crochet from the row below. For the third row, we did 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet. For the next row, we have 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet. So we have 1 double crochet separating our 2 double crochets in row 3, and 2 double crochets separating our double crochets in row 4. So for the rest of this row, place 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and then 2 double crochets into the same stitch. And continue this pattern until you get to the end of the row. You should always be ending on one double crochet into the last space. And this is how your piece should be looking after 4 rows. You can start to see that it's kind of curving up a little bit here, and that's how we're going to create that pretty kind of half moon V at the top of our bag. And from here on, every row you do, you will be adding one more double crochet in between your 2 double crochets into one stitch. So for this 4th row, we did 1 double crochet into the next 2 spaces, 2 double crochet into 1 space. And for the next row, we will do 1 double crochet into the next 3 spaces, separated by our 2 double crochets into 1 space. For the next row, we will do 1 double crochet into the next 4 spaces, separated by our 2 double crochets into 1 row. So now I've completed 8 rows, and I'm going to make a single crochet across the top of the bag here just to neaten it off. And to start this single crochet side, chain 2, equivalent of 1 single crochet with a bit of a turning stitch, and we'll be placing 2 single crochets into the side of each double crochet in the row. So for this row, you can see this is 1 double crochet. This chain 2 counts as 1 single crochet. So I will place 1 more single crochet into the side of that double crochet row. For the next double crochet side, place 1 single crochet and 1 more single crochet into the side of that double crochet row. And again, onto the next one, 1 single crochet and 2 single crochet. And continue this along every double crochet in your row. Make sure not to go through that central starting stitch, just so that we keep it nice and rounded. I finished with 32 single crochets along the top of that bag. Cut your yarn and pull through to fasten off here, and pull that tight. Make 2 of your bag sides, and now we will make the base of our bag that will go underneath and along and attach our bag sides together. Count how many stitches you have along the base of your bag all the way up to the side here, because that is how many we will be chaining for our bag base. I have 65 stitches along the base of our bag here. I'm going to chain 64, hold the last stitch and chain an extra 2 so that it could be my turning single crochet to get back down the bag and make up 65 stitches in that row. Start by creating a slip knot and chain 64. (62, 63, 64), and we want to have 65 single crochets in our next row. So after 64, I'm going to hold that last stitch, chain 2, equivalent of our single crochet turning stitch, and place 1 single crochet into that held stitch. We're going through the full stitch today, not just the back loops only, so that we have an even look on both sides, and place 1 single crochet into every stitch down the rest of the row, and you should have 65 single crochets in your row after you have completed this. And 65 single crochets. So you should now have 65 single crochets in your row. Now you can see that it perfectly fits your bag, and we're going to create a few more rows here for the base of our bag before we attach the other side to create our main bag section. You can create however many rows you want depending on how deep you want your bag to be, how much you want it to be able to hold. I'm not going to make my bag too deep, so I'm just going to do 2 or 3 more rows. To start the next row, chain 1. I know that we chained 2 on the last row, but that was so we had a nice corner at the base to turn onto. But now you want to make sure that your sides are really sturdy. So I'm just going to chain 1, single crochet into the next stitch, and single crochet into every stitch down the row. And we're going to do that for this row 2 and also for row 3 and however many more rows that you would like, chaining 1, turning your work, and single crocheting down the whole base. And this is how your bag base should be looking after 1 foundation row and 3 single crochet rows. I actually would like to keep my base pretty thin, so you can continue to make this wider and it will make your bag deeper, but I just really want it to hold a couple of my cards on my phone. So I'm going to stop here and start attaching it to the bag. So we're going to start by just creating the side chain 2 and turn your work to the side. That chain 2 counts as our single crochet and a kind of turning stitch, which is why we have chain 2 again. And this is attached to that last third single crochet row. So we're going to place 1 single crochet into the second row, 1 single crochet into the first row, and 1 single crochet into our foundation row. So place 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet into that first row, 1 single crochet through the corner of that foundation row. And from here we're going to add this straight onto our bag, and we're going to keep the seam on the outside of the bag here. So grab one of your bag pieces. We are attaching everything onto the front side. Turn your strap so that you're working along the other side but on the same face as your bag base. Make sure that the wrong side of your bag is facing you so that the seam goes on the outside, and when we flip it to the front, the seam can be seen. And we're counting this stitch that we're on now as the first stitch. So this is the same as this little chain space from the foundation row. And we're going to find that first stitch on our bag, yarn over, and pull through as a slip stitch. Remember to skip over this little gap that is attached to our foundation slip knot, and we're going straight into the next stitch. Go into the next stitch along your bag, yarn over and slip stitch, pull through, and continue this into every stitch both along your bag base and along the side of your bag. And do this all the way along, making sure to attach your base all the way to your bag, and it will end up perfectly at the other side where I will meet you to attach the next face of the bag. And slip stitch through that last stitch and the first one on the bag there. And we're going to chain 2 and do what we did for the other side of our bag here, placing a single crochet into the side of each single crochet row here and the foundation row. So this chain 2 counts as the single crochet for the last row. We'll place 1 single crochet into the side of the second row, 1 single crochet into the side of the first row, and 1 single crochet. And once we finish that last single crochet, we're going to place the next face of our bag with the right side up facing us. So we'll be using this stitch to attach to the bag as a slip stitch, and then go straight into this next one, missing this kind of awkward corner stitch. So let's find that first stitch on the face of our bag with the right side facing us, slip stitch through it, and then go straight into that next stitch and the next stitch along the bag, and repeat this, slip stitching together the base of your bag to the next face of your bag, and continue this until you have come to the other side, placing the final slip stitch through the top of that stitch that attaches to our single crochet row to the corner stitch here, the first turning stitch of our base. And now you can see that we have the two sides of our bag attached to the base, and it's looking like a bag. I'm so excited. And from here, you can choose to cut off your yarn or use this same color for the handle. I actually did a poll on my Instagram and you guys wanted me to make a pink handle. So we're going to use this yarn for the handle. So I am simply going to chain one to close off that stitch, cut my yarn and yarn over, pull through to fasten off. You can see here that the attachment for the handle and attachment for the flowers is slightly out of order in terms of how I attached them. This is basically because I made a strap for the bag and it just came out a little bit long. I thought that it was perfect when I first made it, but I couldn't actually frog it without frogging the entire thing just because of the way that I made it. So I actually frogged it after I attached the flowers, which is why you can see it's a little out of order, but just continue to attach your flowers and then attach the handle as I do in this tutorial, just ignoring that there is a bag handle attached before you attach your flowers in these first clips. So to make the flowers for this bag, I actually already have a tutorial for you, the flower motif tutorial here on YouTube. But I will quickly go over it for you if you would like a recap, or maybe you can just make them from the short explanation that I'll give you now. For the foundation row, we will create a slip knot, chain 6, and slip stitch into our first chain to create a small circle. For round 2, we will chain 1, which is not equivalent of any stitch, and place 12 single crochets into that small circle, attaching your round with a slip stitch at the end. For round 2, we will chain 3, equivalent of 1 double crochet plus 1 chain space, and directly place 1 double crochet into the next stitch, chain 1 for a chain space, and place 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and continue this of chaining 1 and placing a double crochet into the next stitch until you have reached the end of your round, where you will chain 1 and slip knot into the second stitch of your starting chain 3. And for your last round, we are going to cut off our yarn, and to the next chain space, we're going to attach our yarn, chain 2, equivalent of 1 double crochet, place 2 more double crochets, and into the next chain space, place 1 single crochet. Into the next chain space, place 3 double crochets, chain 3, 3 more double crochets into that same chain space, and into the next chain space, place 1 single crochet. And repeat this pattern of placing 3 double crochets, chain 3, 3 double crochet into 1 chain space and 1 single crochet into the next chain space until you reach our first chain space gap again, and into that same chain space gap where we have our 3 starting double crochets, place 3 double crochet and place 1 double crochet directly into the top of our chain 2 from the start of our row. And then you can cut your yarn and pull through to fasten off, and you have your flower. I'm going to start with this peachy color, and I've just simply threaded my yarn through the same color as the last row of this flower, doubled it over and created a knot at the base. And I'm going to come from behind and place a running stitch through the single crochet edge all along the side of here all along the side of this flower motif, and I'm going to repeat this on every single flower, exactly the same for this one that ends with our double crochet row, and I will meet you once I have finished this flower. Once I have patched that down, stitched it all the way along the edges, I cut the yarn at the end and I'll do a double knot, one on one side and one on the other side, just to make it a little sturdier. And you can cut off your yarns at the end. I'm going to leave them now just so that I can weave them in at the ends and make them super secure, but I'll do that after I have attached the rest of the flowers. This is what it's looking like after the first layer of flowers have been patched onto the bag. And now I will stitch the second layer on top before I add the beads to some of the centers of these flowers. And this is how it's looking after the second layer of flowers. I'm going to add a few beads into the centers just to give it a little bit extra 3D. To attach the beads to the flowers, I used the same yarn as I did to mix up the yarns for the bag, just so on the inside it's a little bit more seamless. Thread through your yarn and double over the yarn, cutting your yarn a few inches down. You don't need a lot of yarn for this bit because we're literally just attaching it once onto the bag. And create a little knot at the base. I created 2 on top of each other just to make it super secure. And coming from behind your bag, try and bring your yarn through the center of the flower that you're trying to attach your bead onto, like so. Pull it through so that the knot is at the base on the wrong side of your bag. Thread through your bead. And simply thread it back through and pull tight. And from here, I just created a knot on the other side of my bag and doubled it. And then I actually knotted them together, the beginning and end, and then cut my yarn off. And I will weave in the ends afterwards. Nobody needs to see that. And you have attached your bead to your bag. And I did this 3 times on this side and 3 times on the back side too. I didn't add as many flowers on this side because it is the back side, but I still wanted it to look pretty. I didn't want to just leave the back, so I kind of added less so that you can tell that it's the back, but it's still super cute. On the side of the bag, you can see we have 5 obvious stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to use these 5 stitches to single crochet into to start our bag handle. So bring all 3 of your strands together and create a slip knot. And with your bag facing the right side, place your hook through the corner, through the 5th stitch of the side of our bag, pull through and chain 1 equivalent of 1 single crochet, and we're going to place 4 more single crochets into the next stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And from here we're just going to continue our single crochet handle. So chain 1 equivalent of 1 single crochet here. We'll be using chain 1 to start our single crochet rows instead of chain 2, and go straight into the next stitch. That's 2, 3, 4, and go into that first chain 1, equivalent of 1 single crochet, place a single crochet into it, and continue this until you reach the length that you would like for your bag handle. I would like mine to kind of look like it finishes the circle, so we're not going to make it too long, and I will show you how many inches I crocheted in the end. I crocheted 14 inches for my bag strap and turned my bag inside out so that we can attach the strap to the other side with the front pieces facing together, working along the back side. Find the 5 stitches at the end of the base of your bag. Make sure that your strap isn't twisted and that it's lying flat, so when it's on, it sits flat on your shoulder. Place a slip stitch through the first stitch of the side of your bag, pulling through. Place a slip stitch in the next, slip stitching your strap to the side of your bag, and continue this for the next 3 stitches. So you have 5 slip stitches attaching that strap to your bag. And place your last slip stitch through that chain 1 from the row below and through the corner of the side of your bag here. And yarn over, pull through to close your slip stitch row. Turn your bag back the other way around. With the front of the bag facing me, I placed 1 single crochet into each stitch along the front, and then I worked directly into the strap and placed 1 single crochet into the side of every single crochet row until I reached the beginning of my single crochet row here. Slip stitch into that first single crochet stitch, and we will create a slip stitch around this whole side of the bag just so that your handle doesn't stretch out at all whilst you're wearing it. Going straight through the next single crochet, slip stitch into every stitch along the front of your bag here and along the handle, making sure not to pull it too tight but also not too loose, just so that it doesn't stretch out when we're wearing it, but we don't want to do it too tight so that it bunches up. And once you've done a second row on your bag edging, which is a slip stitch row, once you get back to your starting corner, cut your yarn with a little bit left to spare so that you can weave it in afterwards. Yarn over and pull through to fasten off. And we're going to repeat this on the other side of our bag. So again, starting at the right corner at the top of your bag body here, use your 3 yarns, create a slip knot, and attach through that corner. And once you have completed that second side of single crochets and then slip stitches along the handle, you are done with your bag. Here is your Flora bag. I hope you ended up making something that you love, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.